अस्सलाम वालेकुम नाज़रीन, मैं हूं ज़मीर हैदर और आप देख रहे हैं प्रोग्राम पब्लिक पल्स। नाज़रीन, आज ये पब्लिक पल्स स्पेशल है क्योंकि आज हम इंटरव्यू कर रहे हैं नगीब सवारिस साहब का। नगीब सवारिस CEO और चेयरमैन है ऑरेस्कॉम टेलीकॉम होल्डिंग्स, CEO ऑफ ओरा डेवलपर्स और चेयरमैन है वेदर इन्वेस्टमेंट्स पेरेंट कंपनी। ताल्लुक इनका इजिप्ट से है और पाकिस्तान से इनका बहुत गहरा ताल्लुक है। तकरीबन अब इनको 20 साल से जायद या लगभग तकरीबन 20 साल होने को हैं जब पाकिस्तान में ये इन्वेस्टमेंट्स कर रहे हैं। पहली इन्वेस्टमेंट्स इनकी ऑरेस्कॉम ग्रुप की तरफ से आई थी मोबलिंक में, और मोबलिंक में इनके लोकल पार्टनर्स थे द सैफ ग्रुप ऑफ कंपनीज, और उस वक़्त से आते रहते हैं पाकिस्तान। और इनका जो दिल है वो यही होता है कि किसी ना किसी तरह नई इन्वेस्टमेंट्स पाकिस्तान में लेके आए, नए प्रोजेक्ट्स पाकिस्तान में लेके आए। और आजकल भी आए हुए थे तो हमें ये मौका मिला कि इनका इंटरव्यू करें। आइए इंटरव्यू शुरू करते हैं। थैंक यू नगीब फॉर बीइंग विद अस। आई जस्ट गिव अ ब्रीफ इंट्रो ऑफ यू, लाइक हाउ लॉन्ग यू हैव बीन कमिंग टू पाकिस्तान एंड हाउ लॉन्ग यू हैव बीन इन्वेस्टिंग your time and money in Pakistan. And this is my second opportunity to interview you. It's almost 2 decades ago that I interviewed you for a local channel. Naguib, first of all, welcome to Pakistan again.
Thank you.
I think it's your second home now.
It has always been.
It has always been.
Yes.
So I remember starting from Orescom investment in Mobilink. And there was some teething problems during the initial times, and then now it is being told as a business model introduced by you in the telecom sector in Pakistan, and later they acquired the other telecom as well. So, and now 18. I remember it was your dream project that you wanted to have a real estate project in Pakistan.
Yes, when we were doing Mobilink, we were always searching for other things to do, because every time you come, it's Mobilink, Mobilink, Mobilink. And then when you get the appreciation of the success of the story, somehow after a while it dies out, You have to look for another challenge, And what happened to me here, and I'm not saying that for PR reasons, but I fell in love with this country. And I was lucky because Islamabad, in a way, is one of the most beautiful cities, because of the weather and the greenery you have and like that. But really what bound me to Pakistan are the people. You see, first of all, we Egyptians, when we arrive here and we look at the people, they look like our people. So we actually, when I was in the airport today, so I was speaking English to the Egyptians and then speaking Arabic to the Pakistanis, because I didn't know who is who, And then in the end, we all look alike, we have the same religions, we have the same traditions. So I always felt very homey here. And to be honest, for just to pick a point, I was always treated here fairly. I was never subjected to any unfairness in competition, whether bureaucracy or anything. Of course, there is bureaucracy, but coming from Egypt, I cannot complain, I mean, we had the same master of bureaucracy, the Brits. They put the bureaucracy in Egypt and they put it here, so.
Okay, let's first talk about 18. Housing project, a modern living style in Pakistan. Why did you dream of that?
Because when we were looking for, I wanted to buy a place here, to have a villa here. I don't like staying in hotels. Mm-hmm. And I figured I'm going to be coming to this country many times, So I was looking for villas. Then I went down Islamabad with my dear partner, Anwar Sifillah. And we saw the villas in Islamabad, 4 million, 6 million. This was like 20 years ago. I mean, can you imagine $4 million 20 years ago, So I said, this is crazy. This is not New York. I mean, what kind of prices are these, So I told him, no, you know what? We have a similar project in Egypt where we moved out of the center. The land was much more cheaper, and we could build the same villa and then sell it maybe for $500,000 or $1 million, not $4 million, So let's go and try and find land, So we took the car, we went out towards this road towards the motorway, and then Anwar wanted to show me 3 plots, But when we came to this first plot, it was 20 minutes from Islamabad.
Yeah.
The weather was so nice, it was so green and so natural, At that time also there were not so much construction on the two sides like now, So So I told him, this is it. He said, don't you want to see the other ones? I told him, no, this is it.
So love at first sight.
Love at first sight. Anwar wasn't so convinced, but this is too far. He has a nice house in Islamabad, But I was convinced because the logic of the business case was very simple. If I drive 15 or 20 minutes outside, and I pay a quarter of the value of the same house that I would have paid in Islamabad, this should be a very good business proposition.
Okay. So that was the main idea behind 18. Now you visited the site. How do you see that? Is the dream coming true?
It's more than coming true. I mean, I was proud because last time I was here was around 18 months, 19 months ago, and then I wanted to come many times, and then because of this terrible Corona, never-ending Corona saga, so we all were stuck in our homes and couldn't travel, and PCR there, PCR vaccine, and all this nightmare we are living still till now. Was preventing me from me to come. So I had a longer period. So when I came this time, especially the buildings, the way they were covered with marble, a very expensive way, I mean, of building, and the apartments are, even the small apartments, they have canals. I mean, so much value for the money you pay. 4 rooms, with the garden outside, with the cellar, I mean, it's just like a completely new level of living. Plus that you have a view on the golf course that is amazing view, total greenery, 18 holes view.
Naguib, my question here would be, don't you think that this facility is more for a higher standard of living? Like
definitely.
Have you ever thought of accommodating the middle class and the people who deserve more?
Yes, but you have to have the business case. So this was a simple business case. Some business people like to falsely pretend that, I'm a charity organization, I do this for the good of the people, and this and that. No, this is a purely business. If you can afford a villa for 4 million in Islamabad,
you can buy that.
You can buy the same villa for less than $1 million, $800,000, $600,000 in this site. I'm doing you a favor, I'm saving you a lot of money, plus I'm taking the bracket down. So let's say
bringing competition and the bracket down.
And even let's say you are a person, you cannot afford, I don't know if you can even afford the 800,000 or not, but okay. But let's say you are a person that could afford you could not afford the 4 million, but you could afford the 1 million. So the opportunity I'm giving you is to have the same house. Someone paid 4 million in Islamabad to drive 15 minutes or 20 minutes and buy the same house for 800,000.
Yeah, and that's now it's more convenient because it's in the center of Islamabad Airport, Islamabad International Airport, and
but when we bought the land, at that time, it took us 10 years to consolidate this land. 10 years. To consolidate this land, our people are not the easiest when you negotiate with them. Everybody wants a different deal, everybody...
Okay, now you have seen this. Like, you are not yourself here all the time. Do you have eyes all the time on the project? And now, are you satisfied the way you want it? It's coming up the same way?
Exactly, the same way. But it's not that I have eyes. My team knows I'm a hands-on guy, so nothing you see...
You're hands-on on a lot of things, I know that.
No, I'm a bit... Because I'm much more... I'm semi-retired now, so it's not the same person you saw 20 years ago.
Okay.
So now I only work in 2 fields. My son has joined me, thank Allah, and he's taken over around 80% of my work. So this is a work that I love. And I'm involved in everything, so I'm involved in the colors of the buildings and the choices of the finishing. I'm involved on the layout. We destroyed the entrance 2 times because I told them I want a grandiose entrance, when I come. Every time I come, we agree, and I'm not a dictator. I listen to my people when they tell me this is maybe not so wise or this is going to cost so much. Okay, when they say it's going to cost so much, it's not an argument for me, because in the end, what do I want from this project? Not just my villa, but I want people to remember here, wow, these people came here and did a landmark. This project should be a landmark, And I'm telling you, this area, this project...
would be, you must be knowing, you're competing with some of the tycoons in this, probably one of the tycoon in this field. So you're convinced that this would be a landmark?
First of all, I don't know which other tycoon you're referring to. With all respect to him.
Well, he's under the clouds now.
No disrespect, but
No,
I don't know of him.
Yeah.
And secondly, I'm not arrogant, because I am a very religious person, and I believe, first of all, that anything that happens in the end, the first one you should thank is God. Without his blessing, I was just telling my security guy that this project had God's hand in it. It was blessed. Because impossible in Pakistan to consolidate such a huge plot of land. Okay. Impossible. You know, it took us 10 years. Imagine I have another competitor, like you tell me. How can he consolidate this big piece of land? It took us 10 years. So my next competitor, maybe he's more lucky, he will need 8 years. You understand?
Probably,
because
I understand.
You can buy a building nearby, but you cannot buy a community like that. You cannot buy into... you know that the size of the land, only 29% is built, which means when you buy, you get 70% of greenery not paid for.
Not paid
around you, so you will not have congestion. You can walk in the morning and for an hour, and you will not stumble into any buildings. You know?
So I can be safe to say that this is a very environment-friendly project, because there are 30% of construction and 70% of green.
Yeah, it's about also creating a legacy for myself here. Understand? It's like when I did the successful...
But Naguib, when you say that, it was not easy to acquire land, and I understand, but did government try to help you since you were a foreign investor? Did you go and knock the doors of the
government? I will tell you something. But you will laugh, because it's not applicable to Pakistan only, but it's applicable to all our region. The best favor a government can do you is to stay away.
Okay, I got that. I agree.
But because
and still we hear that you've got one window, everything would be done when they want you to make the investment.
No. So just after the joke, I tell you, the reality is we dealt with private sector, because all the land was purchased from the private. When we went to the government first to acquire land, it was practically unavailable. You know, because of the system you have here, the system you have in Pakistan, is that all the land is controlled by the decentralized. It's controlled by the what you call the governance. No, the governance. I mean the
local administration.
The local administration, or private people. Or private. So the local administration are very difficult to deal with. They don't actually want to get let go of the land, and they have their own restrictions, political implications, everything. The private are good, but there are many. So to consolidate a piece of land like that, that's why I'm telling you, welcome with any competitor. He should be patient like us, you know.
But okay, it took you almost a decade to acquire the land. Now you are there, and it's almost
the government supported us with the permits.
With the permits,
especially the connection to the main road, which was the
arteries.
Yes, exactly. This was a problem, and without the government and without the interference of the cabinet and the prime minister, we would have been still today waiting for this to happen. You know. So
now the questions come, the questions would be there for bringing in the utilities gas, electricity.
No, we are doing that. No, we are doing that.
In the government, because there comes the public sector.
We are lucky. You know, we came at the right time where the government had the plans, the new airport was finished, and all these utilities were coming our way, you know. So I think, as I told you, this project, on the risk of being portrayed as not a material guy that I'm like a bit, no, but I tell you, this project was blessed, because everything fell into place at different times, but at the right time.
Okay. Naguib, I remember 2 decades ago you were interested in infrastructure as well. You wanted to come into building dams, because at that time you knew Pakistan was an energy-starved country, and you had a lot of ambitious plans, and you discussed at that time with General Musharraf and Shaukat Aziz as well. So any plans to come in on that side as well? Because still the arena is open in Pakistan in as far as infrastructure and these.
I think where we would be very much interested, you know, because we are working now. I invested a lot of money with the Spanish company that is working in renewable energy. So what do we do now? Now, as you know, that there is a lot of pressure on all the world, not just on Pakistan or basically or India, because they're one one of the main polluters of the heat, in the world,
Yeah, true.
And you remember the last declaration by Prime Minister Modi saying it will take us 50 years
Yeah, exactly.
to reduce that. So we would like to offer here in Pakistan a substitute for energy by using wind, I think, which might be available here, and sun and solar.
Solar. So have you started negotiating on that?
No.
Are you still waiting?
No, it's not on our priority list right now.
Right now.
We would prefer that if the government has a program to approach us and say, okay, we will give you so much share of the energy we need, and these are the terms, and we will be buying the electricity from you. But of course, there are also some, the government has to stand by its word when they say we'll buy the electricity, and they have to pay you on time and things like that, So
Exactly.
all these issues come into the, but we are willing, because I have an advantage than any other investor from outside. Other investors would look at Pakistan and say, it's risky, I don't know. This doesn't apply to me. If I feel at home.
You've been here, for
it's
2 decades. Yeah, I understand. In the beginning, you said, you loved Islamabad, you liked Islamabad, and you wanted to have a villa, and that's why this 18 came up, and now it's there. Why only Islamabad? Why? What about the rest of the country?
No, I have.
Because I remember when you interviewed you.
No, we looked at Karachi.
You said, when you were flying over Pakistan, you were, you were overlooking the country, and you wanted to so much. You had so much things.
We still want. We looked at Karachi at that time when we came, because it's on the seaside, and even though the culture in Pakistan is not so sea friendly. But for us, coming from Egypt, all the population in the summer is at the seaside. So I said, this cannot be that different, if we create the right environment. So we looked at Karachi, I think, also 15 years ago, but we did not meet the right partner who would give us the land at a affordable prices, to make a business case, So tomorrow we are flying to Karachi, and we will look again. And I think this time, because right now we see that the 18 project has, when you depart with the plane and then it starts.
It's ready to take off now.
Yeah, it's took off. Okay. So we believe now it's the right time to start looking for another project. Of course, because we have to find the location, the design, the permits. So we have, let's say, 1 year or 18 months before we start on a new project. And then 18 would be on the second phase, third phase, and the more present, because we have a very good team right now here. We have a very strong team, and then we connect it to all the local contractors, local contributions, all the material, most of the materials we use in 18 is Pakistani marble, Pakistani contractors, all the suppliers, I made sure that, and even when we had an international architect, we had the local architect revise the design to make sure that we are in the normal traditions, not only the environment, the traditions,
traditions.
You have certain traditions here.
Exactly.
You don't want to have your swimming pool with everybody watching, so you need your privacy. So all these issues were taken into consideration. So
we will continue.
I think we will bring the Pakistanis to go to the seaside and own a house on the sea where they can walk in the morning, go to the sea. We're going to do that.
That's going to be a
and Allah gives me enough lifetime to finish all that.
Inshallah, hopefully Allah will.
It's up to him. If you want me to finish, he has to give me the time.
Inshallah. We'll take a short break over here. Viewers, Naguib Sawiris हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं. बहुत ambitious businessman, ambitious investor हैं. दुनिया भर में प्रोजेक्ट्स करते हैं. पाकिस्तान में एक खास दिलचस्पी है, प्यार है, मोहब्बत है पाकिस्तान से मज़ीद भी बात करेंगे. हमारे साथ रहिए. वेलकम बैक नाज़रीन. नगीब सवारिस हमारे साथ मौजूद, सीईओ हैं ऑरस्कॉम ग्रुप के, और सीईओ ऑरा डेवलपर्स, सीईओ ऑफ मैनी थिंग्स, और इनसे गुफ्तगू जारी है. वेल, वंस अगेन नगीब सवारिस, यू आर I just want to know that if I remember correctly, you wanted to do something in the tourism sector for Pakistan. That was your ambition, and you again, since you have mentioned that Pakistan is one country which has got so many things to offer. You have got sea views, you have got high mountains, you have got desert, you have got green plains, everything. So do you still intend to come? Because now the present Prime Minister is very ambitious on this tourism
we are
industry.
looking forward to do something in Karachi because it's on the seaside. And it's going to be touristic, but in the same time it will cater for the local people, because at the seaside, also tourists don't like to come and feel isolated.
True.
They like to come and meet the people of the country, So if you do something in isolation of the locals, it doesn't work in the end. So I think this we need to do. I think one thing I might mention, which is a delicate issue here, but is we need to be a bit tolerant on the tourists that come here, so because they come with different, if you get Japanese people, or you get Chinese, or you get Americans, or you get French, or they all have their own cultures and so on. So we have to make sure that they can live within their own constraints, their own freedom, and their own habits, without, of course, offending our culture and but we have to be tolerant, because we cannot tell someone, well, you're going to come to Pakistan, but first of all,
you have to observe this and this.
You have to do this. Your wife has to be veiled. She cannot do this. You cannot run with shorts on the seaside. So he'll tell you, okay, God's land is very big. I can go somewhere where nobody.
Somewhere else, true.
And especially in vacations. I mean, let's be frank. When you do a vacation, you usually want to leave your country because you want to be free. So you go somewhere when people don't know you, so you can behave without all this scrutiny and
True,
behavior.
exactly.
So it's part of. So we need to overcome that. This point.
Our present government is, willing to bring a lot of, policies to facilitate international tourism in Pakistan. Of course, with COVID, we didn't see much of tourists coming.
COVID can be an opportunity. COVID can be an opportunity because, COVID gives us time. If I want to do a project, first of all, how long will it take me until it starts to operate? 2-3 years? What best is to operate now, when there is no pressure, when people are more people are jobless because they lost their jobs because of COVID, So it's best to utilize that,
This is the best time.
Yeah.
I understand. Job opportunity, job creation. During Corona, Pakistan has suffered a lot because there was a lot of unemployment. And I understand that 18 and your other projects were also, very job oriented. And so now, when you talk about this new project in Karachi on the seaside, do you think that this would also help in job creation?
Of course, I mean, 18, without exaggeration, if you calculate the number of people we have on sites, I think 18 maybe provided thousands of jobs directly on the project. But think in another way. How many jobs did we provide all the people who supplied the marble? It's local marble. How many jobs did we provide the people who are doing the furniture, who are going to manufacture the furniture? All the furniture is mostly manufactured here, the doors, the wooden works, the Pakistani.
They say construction industry employs almost around 42 industries
exactly
to work.
Exactly, this is what you should look at. So we have,
steel.
And we did all this during the COVID. So actually we were a project when you were when you were driving towards the airport, you would see our buildings coming up, all the time, and the work was continuing, COVID or no COVID, Of course, we adhere to the healthcare restrictions and all that, and of course, the productivity was a bit lower, but we didn't stop. So if we start the project in Karachi, it will be the same thing,
Okay.
We are not the kind of people that get deterred by anything,
Deterred by anything, yes. Well, at the time I remember when Pakistan was declared as a risk country for investment, you were here and you were investing. So, but you don't need to say it again. I know that.
Even at that time when there were threats.
Yes.
You remember when?
Yeah, exactly.
Before I came to the famous trip here, I received an email threatening me from some, I would say, undesirable elements. And they sent an email to Egypt to scare us off, So what I did, I took my stuff. I told them, look, here's the email. I'm flying tomorrow. Any one of you who is scared
can stay back.
Can stay back. They said, but why are you going? I told them, because my dad taught me one thing is, dogs that bark don't bite.
Don't bite.
If they wanted to do something, they will not warn me. They will wait for me to come and then do it. So.
Yeah. So since you have been coming to Pakistan, you offered help in one of our Recodic projects. Did you get any feedback on that? Like, you thought that you can take Pakistan out. So we are,
Which project are you referring to?
Recodic project.
Ah, yes, of course, yeah.
And now we are almost $6 billion under fine.
No, I think there was a positive development in this case. That Pakistan actually won a legal case to suspend the order. As far as I'm concerned, I heard lately, So even if not put that aside, I mean, anybody that thinks he's going to get $6 billion out of Pakistan, well, good luck. I mean, it's always, you have to
Yeah, and we are actually,
so what I offered is two options. One option is,
and we are talking at the time when we are, agreeing to very strict restriction, conditions by IMF for $6 billion, and that too we'll get it in 3 years' time. So,
no, but this was the right step to do. People always in our part of the world think that this IMF is the colonial power that is forcing us to do measures we don't like. No, they have some good economists that tell you, okay, if you continue like that, it's going to.
Since you have mentioned that they have some good economists, the governor of Central Bank in Pakistan was the former country rep for IMF in Egypt.
Yeah. So you cannot. Yes, I know him very well. He's very well regarded, very well regarded. But
so we are better off with him in sitting in as governor at Central Bank?
Of course, because he will understand the language of the IMF and he will be able to come to the most win-win solution. He will understand where they're coming from, and he knows also the local facts of Pakistan. They are not cash like foreign currency rich, so he will come to the best solution.
Okay, now coming back to Recodic. So what did you offer?
So we are saying, because I'm one of the largest single investors in the world in gold mining, and this is really my domain,
Yes.
And if there are 3-4 people in the world, I'm one of them, So I have a huge expert. So, and I know this business very well, and I created a big position in the last 6-7 years. So there are two options. One option would be I come as a Pakistani, because I am a Pakistani, okay? And I join this side and I try to mediate to bring a solution. Or the government here that clears the deck and says, okay, now we want a Pakistani,
a new investor.
a Pakistan-friendly investor to come in and do the right thing here.
And there comes in Naguib Sawiris, all set to...
On a white horse.
All set to... At this point, we'll take a break and a short break. Naazreen, Naguib Sawiris हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं. Short break हमारे साथ रहिए. Welcome back, Naazreen. Naazreen, Naguib Sawiris के साथ गुफ्तगू जा रहे. Naguib, I remember Prime Minister has a vision that every poor should have his own house, and that's why he initiated a Prime Minister housing project. And that was not horizontal, that was vertical, because he believes in environment, and he doesn't want to see a lot of concrete spreading over the greens. So why didn't you participate in that? Like, you have this experience.
It's the same problem, when we did the high end. It's the land. What we told the government is, you have to find us the land. We're foreigners. We don't know where is the land. And if
you think it's a land of opportunity, but you don't find a land.
Yes. It's true. It's not like
but this is public-sponsored project.
Yes, but it's not.
But they could have find land for you, and
we're willing. They need to find the land because they need to talk. Because when you are talking low end or low cost, let's say, housing, it means you can't go where the land is expensive. The land has to be cheap. The land is the biggest component of the housing project.
True.
So if you don't allocate the land for a very moderate price, then you can't, the cost of the building is the same, whether you are building for the rich or the poor. It's the same, very little difference, maybe in the finishing or something, but you also don't want, it's not like you are going to build houses for the poor that are poorly made or poorly looking. You can't do that. You have to do something decent anyhow. So the land cannot be too expensive, And the government has to take the time to find land, allocate it, and then the whole package should work, because they should explain how they will guarantee civil servants payments for their apartments, what they will offer mortgage, banks, and also, and then we come in and we do it.
They have this model already.
They have the model with all
but
this.
They couldn't provide
the land. We were involved. Our teams, and the head of the unit that is doing this is a very knowledgeable man, very knowledgeable, and he understands everything. He actually, when I met him,
he's competent, he's honest, and there's no second opinion on that.
Super guy. We met him when we came here 4 or 5 years ago, and actually he was very cordial by allowing us to interact with his model, discuss what are the obstacles and everything, and we worked with him on the model. The end effect is, here is the thing. Give us the land, provide us the land, and we will start that immediately. That's the only problem.
That's the only problem.
Yeah.
So your team is still engaged with them, but you are still interested in, because this is providing 50 lakh.
Let's say we are interested, but we are not engaged at the moment, because we were.
Okay, you've got other things at your hand. I understand. What next? After this Karachi, or this for now is Karachi, the new project?
For now it's Karachi, and as I said, also we are interested not just in this Reykjavik mining project, but we are also interested in new mining projects. If there is any opportunities here in mining, even startups, green, where we can look for gold or copper or even battery material now. Now there's a big shortage all over the world. Now cars, if you have an old car, by the way, if you have an old car, keep it. It's going to cost more. It's going to be more valuable than the new, because there are no new cars. The cars delivery are being delayed now because of the chips and the problems with all that. The whole world now is delayed even. So if we find other opportunities in the mining sector here, I'm sure Pakistan has got a lot of resources in the mining sector.
But have you suggested Pakistan, because I hear people say that the geological surveys that you do, and they tell that there's a lot of resources in Pakistan. So do you have that kind of reports with you, so you can actually go and ask for that particular concession?
No, look, these reports have to originate from the government. It means the government, even with the limited resources they have, they should invest in a geophysical survey. There are planes that go over all the country and survey the minerals, and they can give you a starting point. They can tell you, well, this area most probably will have copper, this area most probably will have nickel or cobalt, and you can do that, and the plane will cost you a couple of $1 million. But in exchange for these $1 million, you have some data that you can offer investors like ourselves who are long-term. Because mining is a 7 to 10 years venture, and people spend tens of millions, and when they spend these millions, they're investing in the country. So they also provide jobs for people who dig or build and like that. And then after 5 to 7 years, suddenly you find the materials and you become also rich, as a country.
It's I understand, the government has to take some of the initiatives, but they do that on the oil and gas sector. But I don't know if they're doing this in the other minerals as well. Since you have mentioned,
I think, to be honest, they can do more.
They can do more.
As someone who loves the country, not as criticizing,
Last question. 2 decades in Pakistan, almost. And you find Pakistan as your second home, and that's why you are here and you want to do more projects. And where do you think the problems are in I'm not talking about Naguib Sawiris, I'm talking about some other investor who wants to come and he wants to have a look on the Pakistan's economy, and we see that our stock market going down, our interest rates are not that friendly for the investors. So where do you see the problem?
I think one problem is that there is a bureaucracy, and every time bureaucracy brings with it corruption. So if you don't tackle the bureaucracy and eliminate it, you are opening the door for people to be corrupt, to solve. So the small guy person who's going to a civil servant to finish his paper, and it gets put on the side, it doesn't get finished because the guy, if you eliminate the bureaucracy, then he doesn't have to do all that, then he should get it without having to do that. The bureaucracy is a problem. What is also, I think, a problem here is
the consistency in policies?
Yeah, no, I think most governments who have been here, I mean, I think you are now in the best shape. I mean, this government has international recognition. It came up democratically. I mean, the Prime Minister has been fighting for 10 to 20 years to become Prime Minister. It was not an easy journey, and he made it at the end, you know. You are recognized as a democracy. I think so. This, from that side, this is very good, and he's investor friendly. I mean, I met him the first time. He was so kind, and he introduced us to all the ministers concerned, and it helped a lot push our project. You know, in the beginning, you know, because we pointed out where are the hiccups, and they were resolved.
Well, you are considered as Pakistani.
Yeah,
so I was talking about, like, you know, any. Like,
but there is another problem also, is that you have a nasty neighbor. You know. And this neighbor all the time with alienations and like that, so it doesn't help when you think, okay, there might be some confrontation with the neighbor, because they are provocative. They are not just staying where they are provocative. So investors will also worried about that if they come here and there will be some something like that. And
so correct me if I'm wrong, like, you want that we need to correct our image internationally, and we need to focus on these things diplomatically.
Yes,
that
for example,
it's not the threat.
I would
our
tell you
neighbor is a nasty, but it's not the threat. So that's what, like, you know, we should be.
Yeah, but our neighbor also has a lot of problems, so it's okay, you know. But I'm on this side from the border, so okay.
Thank you very much, Naguib.
No, it's also no. Politically, also on this side, I don't think that Pakistan has provoked anything with its neighbor. I think the provocation is always coming from, currently, it's coming from the other side. So to be fair, okay. Now the last thing also is but I want to salute the Prime Minister for taking action when there's news coming about, like the Sri Lankan guy who was burnt alive. I mean, people who do that, first of all, they don't fear God, because God didn't say go and burn a man alive. Whatever he has done of disrespect to our religion, he's stupid. He's actually stupid. He's not a criminal. He's just stupid. He should have more tact in dealing with some sensitive issues like that. But it was not he doesn't deserve to be burned alive. I mean, it's not the way you do. But the worst thing about this incident, it gets international attention, and then they start to think that all of Pakistan is like that, and it's not the case. We all know it's not the case, but it's ignorance. People who are not, they think they are scoring some points with God. No, God will punish him, whoever did this. God didn't procreate hatred and killing and all that. That's not
the case. No. Thank you, Naguib, first of all, for being on this side, as you mentioned, that as the nasty neighbor, and thank you again for being with us in our program, and looking forward to see you in future as well with marvelous things coming from your business group.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
नाज़रीन, आपने बातें सुनी नगीब सवारिस की। बहुत अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ हैं पाकिस्तान में, और ये आज से नहीं, हमेशा से कह रहे हैं, और हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि इनकी बातें और भी लोग सुनेंगे और पाकिस्तान की तरफ रुख करेंगे, क्योंकि पाकिस्तान इतना भी बुरा नहीं है। अब तक के लिए इतना ही, इजाज़त दीजिए। अल्लाह हाफ़िज़।